We are all ships rising on a turquoise tide, headed towards winning the next general election. This government is deep in crisis. They are not fit to govern. The Conservative Party are riven. There is a new, strong, unified party, the party that stands up for decent working people, and we are the party on the rise. The energy has been unbelievable. The enthusiasm has been extraordinary. You are the people's army.
Reform is now in government. And the big shout-out message, and it's very, very clear, is if you vote reform, you get reform. And when it comes to country, of what a nation is, this is where I do personally want to confront the Prime Minister head on.
No one cares more about the state of this country than I do.
There is nobody more determined than me.
But I tell you what, folks, that was just the beginning. Thank you very much indeed.
Please welcome the leader of Reform UK, Nigel MP.
Good evening, Basingstoke. Well, what a fantastic reception, and amazing you've turned out in these incredible numbers. No other political party in this country could turn out a crowd like this in Basingstoke. And do you know something? No other political leader would have the guts to come and face the members of the public in Basingstoke, but I'm here. And there's a great joyous mood in the room. I think a mood of optimism, a mood that says you understand as I do that very fundamental big change is about to come to British politics. And boy, doesn't our country need change, real change. I went at lunchtime today down to Portsmouth. Football team not doing that well, but never mind. And I stood by the statue, put up to the immortal memory of Horatio Nelson, and I walked up and I walked along the wall, and I thought about the incredible people who've been through Portsmouth over 700 or 800 years. Kings, queens, admirals, sailors, all brave men, all patriotic men. And I thought of the incredible might of our country. We were the greatest naval history the earth has ever seen. It was the source of our greatness. And I walked along and I could see HMS Victory, and I could see Warrior, and those incredible historic sites in Portsmouth. And then I saw well, actually, I didn't see very much. because we haven't got much left, have we? But there was HMS Dragon about to set sail for Cyprus. A British Royal Air Force base, sovereign British territory, was attacked with Iranian missiles, and by the time one single naval vessel arrives to give protection, it will have been nearly 3 weeks. This is, folks, a national humiliation for us on the most incredible level. I mean, can you believe it? The French are defending Cyprus. They're defending the RAF base, offering to escort our ships down. Macron now sending a flotilla. So as was said to me earlier, if the French are sending their navy, you know the war's nearly over. Oh dear. I'll get in trouble for that one, but that's okay, I'm used to being in trouble. But can you believe we refused the Americans? We refused the Americans to use our bases, including Diego Garcia. We said to the most fundamentally important partner without whom we are defenseless, and let's face it, we're defenseless without America, we said no, you can't use the bases. Starmer dithered, went back, went forth. We are led, folks, by a man who is not a leader. We are led, folks, by a man who is not a patriot. We are led by a man who is happy to see our armed forces run down and who has directly been involved in now 242 of our former special forces being prosecuted for acting on behalf of the Crown up to half a century ago, and our Prime Minister is complicit in this. He is the most unpatriotic, worst Prime Minister and he's managed to upset the Americans, upset the Cypriots, upset all our friends in the Gulf, upset the voters, upset his own backbenchers, upset his own political party through his sheer feebleness. But the good news is, he'll be gone by the end of May. Don't worry about that. But of course, one of the reasons that Dragon wasn't ready, one of the reasons our pitiful Royal Navy is mostly in dry dock, is of course 14 years of the other lot, running down our armed forces in simply the most unimaginable way. And I would say this to you. We believe, as a political party, you cannot find solutions to the trouble the country's in until you first understand the diagnosis. If you're ill, you've got to find out what it is, haven't you? If you don't find out what it is, you can't be cured. Keir Starmer continually says, Britain isn't broken. Britain's fine, everything's fine. In Islington, everything's fine. And Kemi Badenoch says, Britain isn't broken. Because if she admits it's broken, she admits that it's 14 years of broken promises, 14 years of the Conservative Party that broke it. But we know the truth. We know that everything, from the National Health Service, to our roads, to our borders being out of control, to the fact we haven't got a navy that operates, we know, we recognise, we accept the diagnosis that Britain is broken and Britain needs reform, and that's why we're here. And we have to turn this country around. And you know, the fish rots from the head down. It's about leadership. It's about courage. It's about conviction. It's about knowing what you stand for. But above all, it's also about keeping your promises. In 2016, nearly 10 years ago, this country voted Brexit. It voted to leave the European Union. And yet, 10 years on, whether you voted for it or not, the point is the British public made a decision, didn't they? Despite being told we'd lose our homes, we'd lose our jobs, we'd go bankrupt. Despite all of that, the British people spoke. And what do we get? What do we get from Parliament? What do we get from the Conservative government? What do we get from the Labour government? Obstructionism at every single point of the way. And above all, we voted Brexit, not just to get back control of our country from those ghastly old men that run Brussels, although I had some fun teasing them in the years. I enjoyed the whole thing far more than they did, let me tell you. But above all, a nation that does not control its borders is not, by definition, a nation. We voted to get back control of our borders. And what have we had? What have we had? Since 2018, a never-ending stream of young men crossing the English Channel. Young men who throw away their passports, throw away their iPhones when they get to the 12-mile line so that they can't be identified. Put up in hotels, prioritized for social housing. They even get dental care. How many people here get NHS dental care? Everything is given to them. And it's totally unfair on the rest of us, but worse than that, many of them pose a national security threat, and too many of them pose a threat to young women living in this country. It happened under the Tories. It happened under the Tories. It's got worse under Keir. Smash the gangs, Keir. I mean, God help us. And there's no sign of it stopping. They've come for the last 7 days continuously. And every calm day, they will go on coming. This is not, folks, why we voted Brexit. But no one's got the courage to stand up and offer the solution. And I'll promise you this, a reform government will stop the boats. A reform government will deport those that come illegally into our country. And we'll deport many who've come over the last few years, and we'll do it by getting back sovereign control of our law, of our courts, of our parliament, by leaving the European Convention on Human Rights. And that's illegal immigration. But what about the Boris wave? What about the government elected to reduce the numbers coming in? Of the last 3 million that came in under Boris Johnson, only 20% are working. The rest we'll be paying for the rest of our lives. We're not against people coming into Britain who integrate, who come into Britain, become part of our communities. But we are completely opposed to millions coming into Britain, many of whom will take over parts of our inner cities to the degree they will make them unrecognisable, and who, rather than accepting our culture, want to impose their culture and their religion upon us. And everybody else is gutless. So I want to be clear. If the Tories and Labour Party are too gutless to talk about it, we will talk about it. We will stand up and defend British identity and British culture, and we'll do it as long as we have breath in our bodies. And then we have the cost of living. The deindustrialization of our country. Have you noticed it? Everything's gone in the last few years. Shipbuilding. We're down to just one firm that produces primary steel. Chemicals, plastics, cement making, brick making, heavy engineering. all of the things that Britain was once very, very good at. And yes, of course, I understand global competition, but we are completely destroying British industry and British business, and frankly, not giving ourselves a chance with the new 21st century technologies of data centers, etc. Because we now have the highest industrial energy prices in the world. Anyone know why that is? Boris Johnson said, we're going to become the Saudi Arabia of wind. So we built wind turbines. We subsidised them by putting the cost of it onto your bills at home and onto the costs of businesses. We're now down to 2 days gas reserve supply in Britain. If we had 3 weeks of no wind and no sun, the lights would start going out in Britain because we haven't got the gas reserves. And we say, isn't it marvellous? We've cut carbon emissions more than any other country in the world. Do you know why? All the stuff that used to get made here now gets made in India or China or somewhere else, and then the goods get transported back to us. All we've done is export CO2 emissions. It's utter madness, and we will end this. We will end this. We will end this net zero obsession, which the Tories started, and Red Ed Miliband, God, he's dull, isn't he? Well, I'm sorry, but by the way, they're much ruder about me, I promise. We will end all subsidy. We will reduce your energy bills. We will get industry back in this country. We will produce our own oil. We will produce our own gas. We'll make ourselves self-sufficient on energy, not reliant on the rest of the world. And here we are in Basingstoke, but in the middle, of course, of rural Hampshire. And I have to say, I was very honoured that over 10 big tractors turned up outside the venue earlier. There is an assault on our farming communities. There is an assault on our traditional way of life. There is an assault on country people. There is almost a hatred of country people coming from this urbanised Labour Party. The taxes that were imposed by Rachel Reeves. Oh, hang on. She was a senior economist at the Bank of England for 10 years. I mean, don't make me laugh. Has led to fear in those communities. A lot of farms being sold and being brought up by American private equity and much else. The reason we have this wonderful treasured landscape, and here in Hampshire, I guess, Jack Hargreaves' landscape, something that we love and adore and believe in, is because those families, whether with big plots of land or small plots of land, have husbanded the British countryside wonderfully for century after century. And they really have. And the thought that Watership Down, just a few miles away from here, that wonderful Watership Down is now going to be covered in utterly useless Chinese manufactured solar panels is the willful destruction of our green and pleasant land, and we will end it. And it's like the whole world is run by a few big companies that have the ear, if you like, of big global business. What about the 5.7 million people? 5.7 million people in this country that act as sole traders or run their own businesses. They are put upon by regulation, put upon by inspectors, put upon by excessive business rates, put upon by HMRC and many, many others, and no one has given a damn about them. And they struggle with whatever business they do, especially if they're in the high street. Although Basingstoke seems to be doing very well with Turkish barbers, I seem to notice. If that doesn't make the front page of a local paper, nothing will. But it's true, isn't it? It's true. I know Basingstoke's got a flood of them. We will stand up for entrepreneurs. We will stand up for small businesses. We will reduce the burden of regulation. We will stop them having to file tax returns 4 times a year. Make it once a year. Let's get Britain back in business. And you know, our voters get up in the morning. Our voters are alarm clock Britain. Our voters go to work and are now paying more tax than they've ever paid in their lives, whether they're working or retired, for the growing millions who choose not to work. Well, I'm sorry, it's wrong. It's unfair, and it can't go on. It simply cannot go on. We will bankrupt ourselves if we go on giving full-time disability under the grounds of mental health for those who've got mild anxiety. I have it every morning when I wake up. It is utterly ridiculous. We're encouraging worklessness. We're overdiagnosing teenagers with ADHD. There's something gone fundamentally sick and wrong. And if people in the end give up working, we literally will go bankrupt. So in life and in politics, you've got to pick a side. And we're picking the side of those who choose to try their hardest, do their best, obey the law, bring up their families, and who, above all, believe in this country, believe in its people, and we are unashamedly, we are the patriotic party, and we will not resile from that for one moment. So we've got a good plan, and the team is growing. You've just seen Suella. We've got some very talented people that have joined us, and people from outside politics with real success in life that are joining us. Everything is aimed at the next general election, whatever that might be. Now, some say it'll be 2029, but I think this government is in such free fall that the election could come sooner. I really, really genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that. So, here in Hampshire, last year, it was the 4-year term of your county council that was up. 78 county councillors, 56 of them elected back in 21 as Conservatives. A Conservative-dominated county of Hampshire. And you were all busy paying your council tax, adding your 4.99% pretty much every year, with the chief executive of Hampshire Council earning $250,000 a year, and over 50 employees on the council earning over £100,000 a year. You didn't know that, did you? And yet, if you believe there should be no taxation without representation, elections should go ahead, shouldn't they? Last year in Hampshire, you were robbed of that vote, and a Conservative party who were elected all those years ago in different circumstances stayed in power. Well, this year you will have a vote. And this year, there are 4.6 million people in Britain who are going to be denied the vote for the second year in a row, who now only have that vote because I took the Labour government to court, and I'm proud of what we have done. Because we will stand up for democracy. We will stand up for our rights, stand up for our liberties, stand up, frankly, for all the things that the generations before us fought 2 world wars so that they could be ours to enjoy. So on May the 7th, you have a vote. 78 county councillors for Hampshire will be elected. There will be 78 Reform UK candidates on your ballot papers in every single part of this county. So wouldn't it be a good thing if Reform won Hampshire County Council? Will you help us? Will you help me to achieve that goal? Right, well you can. You can. The strength of this movement, the strength of this party, the reason we're doing something unprecedented in British history. And remember, that we're a brand new party. We've led over 230 opinion polls with an average lead of 10%, but now we have to turn it into reality. The reason we're doing it is we're now the biggest party in the country by membership. People are joining our People's Army. People are putting their backs to it and saying, let's give these guys a hand. So tonight I have one thing to ask of you. Are you prepared to do your bit? Are you prepared to stand up and be counted? Are you prepared to help me fight? Because you know what? If we don't do this, then the next general election may be the last one before this country slips into third world status and oblivion. That is how much trouble we're in. Now, quick straw poll. I want to know how many members of the audience are not paid up members of Reform UK. Let's have a look at you. Oh dear. It's about 80% of you are not members. Folks, all I can say is thank you for coming along this evening. Thank you very much indeed for coming along. We are doing politics the old-fashioned way. Not just sound bites, but the opportunity to come along and listen and see us and work out what we are all about. If you agree with what you've heard this evening, if you agree with what we are trying to do, if you fear, as I do, that unless we stand up and fight back, the future for our children and grandchildren will be very bleak indeed. They will not enjoy the life that we in many ways have. Then I just have one ask of you. Please join us. Please help us. Please eulogize for us. Please spread the message and let us on May the 7th here in Hampshire score an historic victory and teach those parties who've let our country down so badly a lesson they will never ever be able to forget. Thank you very much indeed.